Welcome everyone to another chat with an AFL draftee. We've got a brilliant footballer here, Murray Bus Rangers player forward, goal kicking machine, Brayden George. How are you doing, Brayden?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Pommy. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, mate. My team won in the World Cup last night, so I'm up and about.
Yeah, I seen the scores last night. It was a good effort from the boys.
It's a great start. We don't often start these campaigns well, so always nice.
Yeah, it's always good.
Well, obviously we've got less than a week now till the draft. How are the nerves going? How are you feeling inside?
Yeah, obviously I'm a little bit nervous, with the injury and everything like that. It's kind of made it a bit hard for me to think the most positively, but yeah, I'm just taking it in my stride. Whatever happens, happens, and I'll be happy with whatever outcome.
Well, I mean, obviously, you really came to light last year, didn't you, in the bottom ages, and you were in some scintillating form before. You've had a few injuries this year. How did COVID affect the year before that? And obviously, with Victoria, it's kind of hard for a Victorian like yourself because we've had no football. And then obviously, we've suddenly had football when you've had them injuries. How did you mentally get through that and what kept you going?
Yeah, obviously COVID was a pretty hard time for me because I was moved out of home and I was by myself still. So I kind of kept focused by just doing like my schoolwork and started to do a bit more extras outside when I could. Got the chance to go outside and do some extras. But I think the main thing that helped me was probably just asking questions of people around me. Not thinking that I knew everything because I didn't really know much at that stage, but yeah, kind of seeking advice from people a bit higher than me, and they knew the best things for me to do in that period of time. So yeah, kind of asking questions of them and then going out there and doing it on myself by myself.
Yeah, it was a tough time for COVID, but I mean, I think it was a great time, like what you've just described there, for a bit of personal development because we had so much time to ourselves. There was not really much else we could do, was there?
Yeah, like it was a good time to kind of reflect on and kind of see different things through a different kind of outlook, and you learn a lot through them periods of time. And I think if I had my time again, I probably wouldn't change anything, which is something I hold pretty high.
That No regrets. That's the most important thing. If you can do anything without regrets, that is you've done something good. Now we're in the off season now. Obviously, there's not been much football played. How have you been keeping occupied?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy with me rehab side of everything, but yeah, I'm trying to keep my mind as clear as possible. So if that's me going to the gym and just kind of chilling out there and doing me sessions I've planned out, or coming home and cleaning up the house or reading a book or doing something like that, just to keep myself active still. Picking up different little activities, doing a bit of golf, bit of swimming. So I'm still pretty active, but yeah, I'm trying to take the focus away from footy for a little bit because it's going to be pretty full on in a couple of weeks if it happens.
It's going to be full on. So, with that being that full on nature, what's it been like speaking with the AFL list managers? I'd imagine that's so daunting. I feel like it must be the scariest thing going into a room with 18 blokes just wanting to ask you questions. How has that been for you, and what's your experience been like?
Yeah, I think throughout the season, having like the Zoom calls and doing all that sort of stuff was a new experience because I'm used to just playing footy on the weekend with my mates and going home and doing it again. But now it's got to the stage where you play a game and then throughout the week you're training, you get phone calls from random people, and it's like it's pretty full on, but it's the experience, and it's something that I won't be able to kind of do again, which I take it for granted and stuff like that. But it's a fun experience, and going down to the draft combine was probably the most daunting one because you're sitting out in the hallways and then they call your name in, you walk in, there's one of you and there's 10 of them, so it's kind of a bit how you going, but it's a fun experience.
Mate, I'd imagine that must be the most bizarre experience as well. Like you say, you've 1 minute you're playing football and enjoying it, and then I'd imagine it becomes really real around this stage that this is a career, this is serious.
Yeah, so like you say it like that, like when you're a kid, you just go out there and play, but now you're you play and there's people watching you in all different angles and stuff like that, and you get critiqued for the most little things, and it's kind of hard to think about that, but it's going to be your job at the end of the day, so you gotta take on the chin and deal with all the pressure that comes with it. But I think if you look at it like pressure as such, it's kind of hard, but I kind of think of it, if I get nervous, it's something that I care about, so I can just go about it like that.
Now, obviously, it's been a tough year for yourself. You've had the knee problems, the ACL. But you've dominated when you have played, which keeps you in good stead. How has your year gone, injuries beside, do you feel? And also, how have you kept positive, having them just like, it's been a bad luck year. How have you got your head around that?
Yeah, well, obviously, at the start of the year, my main goals were just kind of to play consistent footy and kind of go out there and enjoy myself, because it was kind of me last year, if I did get picked up in kind of that junior aspect of it all. But yeah, I feel like the games I put on the board, I was, quite confident that I put my best foot forward each week, and there was a few games where I probably didn't perform to the best that I know I can, but there was a few games there that I kind of showcased what I could do and stuff like that. But when the first injury came around, I was a little bit devastated. But as all the people here said, it was only 10 weeks, so I could kind of put me focus onto that last big country game and that championship kind of final, which I was happy with. That meant I missed out on a few NAB League games, but got to play in that last game. I was happy to do that. And then, when coming back and playing that game against Pioneers, it was kind of such a relief to go out there and kind of play and have that feeling again. And then, the next week to go out there and do my ACL in the first 5 minutes was kind of hard, because my whole world kind of just fell on top of me. And it got to the point where I kind of let the emotions get to me a little bit, but I have a good support network and I can reach out and ask questions if I need to. So it made everything a lot easier for me.
And how is that rehab going? Are you feeling fit, feeling fantastic? Is going well?
Yeah, so after the surgery, I came back to Wang and I was by myself for a little bit, and I kind of got some time to reflect and stuff like that. And it's got to the point now where it feels normal as such. So I think I should be running around Christmas time. So it's getting to the point where it's getting back to normality a little bit. So I can't really complain too much. It hasn't been the hardest of recovery so far. So I think if I get the opportunity to get into a club environment, I'll kind of thrive and get my rehab to the level I need to.
Mate, well, I mean, just keeping active, and you're playing a bit of golf, doing a bit of swimming. I mean, they're pretty good things as well for the ACL. They're not labour intensive, but they're keeping the body going. So
yeah, it keeps my mind off everything as well, so it helps in that sense as well.
Now, we've had the bets pocket in the AFL, and we've talked about you a lot on this show because you are a goal-kicking machine. How would you best describe your game style for those watching at home?
I think I've played a little bit of a different role because of my height. I play a little bit taller than I actually am. So I feel like I can hold me own in the goal square and kind of push them bigger bodies around with me strength and size. But I think the best way to describe me is probably a lead up forward that uses his traits to the best of his ability. And I feel like I can run 100% at the ball and kind of take it above my head first grab. But then I also have the ability to kind of roll into the midfield if I need to, which I didn't get to showcase this year. But I have full belief that down the track I'll kind of move myself up the ground a little bit more and use me speed, power, and kind of that evasiveness to the best of my ability.
You have been compared to the great Christian Petracca, who we know he sneaks in the midfield, and last couple of years he has torn teams apart. So I see that comparison. I do think as well, what I do love about seeing you being a POM, my biggest issue with Australian footballers is you don't celebrate enough, and you love a goal. You see it written on your face. There is a real excitement when you score. So we're looking forward to seeing that in the AFL, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Now, obviously where you're scheduled to be picked, there's a few interstate clubs. How's your mind of if you have to move to Perth, if you have to move to Brisbane, New South Wales? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where the most interest around me has kind of been interstate. I think because I've moved away from home and done all that transition already, the clubs have looked into that and they've kind of they've seen that as like a little bit of a tick on my name. So I've got to the point where I'm open to kind of go anywhere because I've made that move already. So I think I'll be in pretty good stead if I have to, pack bags and move again. So, well, realistically, wherever you go, you have to move. So I'm open to anything.
Mate, that's cool. I mean, it's a great opportunity for a young man. And like you say, you're living at home on your own already. So, I mean, it's just the state that changes. The situation remains the same.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, it's an opportunity to see a different part of the world that you really probably didn't really were gonna see if you weren't playing footy. So you just take everything as it comes and make the most of it.
Mate, that's a great attitude to have. Now, you've played high level all your junior years. Is there? We speak to AFL footballers and they talk about state league versus AFL and how fast it is, and it's almost like a different game. It's been described. Do you see that in the juniors from just playing for your club versus the national championships? Is there a noticeable difference for you when you're playing?
Yeah, well, I played a few games for my local club down in Wangaratta at the Rovers, and I played seniors here, and just the difference between seniors and even NAB League was huge. Like the kind of senior footballers weren't as quick, weren't as fit or kind of demanding of you. But when you get into like NAB League and you're in your state championships and stuff like that, the level rises because every position, every player is at the best in their state, in their region. So, yeah, you go out there and you look around and then you're versing the best players that are better than you or on the same level as you. So it kind of pushes you to kind of get the best out of yourself and makes you go to a different level, which I think that's something that I like to kind of go out there and do each week, was kind of just, find people that are better than me or on the same par and just try to beat them. Just a bit of competitive edge.
That's a really cool insight. It's something that we don't, as fans, we don't get enough of. It was something that surprised me when I was speaking to VFL guys who had played AFL and they're dominating at VFL, and they say it's like a different game. The ball's 10 times as fast. The players are twice as good. It's a weird thing that we don't really appreciate as fans. So amazing that it seeds down to juniors as well.
Yeah, like there's even VFL boys here that play O&M footy, and they're saying that the country leagues even it's more physical than VFL sometimes, and it gives you a bit of an insight to what all different levels of footy is kind of like and what to expect.
Mate, exciting times as well. I bet you can't wait to bite against an AFL defender. I bet that's exciting for you to match up against one of them.
Yeah, I think especially if I have a full year off footy, it's going to be pretty exciting when I come back and get the opportunity to play what I love doing and kind of showcase what I can do. So I feel kind of sorry for the first defender that I have to match up on.
It's going to be a very hungry young man's going to face them. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that. Now, with your preparation for games, how has that changed as you've gone through the juniors? And is there anything particular that you like to do and make sure you focus on before you play?
I think throughout juniors, I probably didn't take it as seriously as I do now. But through juniors, I'd train twice a week, and then game day I'd rock around, and I'd kind of just go out there and play. But now, you do your 2 training sessions, and then if we play on like a Sunday or a Saturday, I like to get in the gym on Friday and do a bit of activation stuff just to get the body feeling nice. And if that means going to the sauna just to, flush out all that bad stuff, to do that. But it's just become a lot more professional now, which is something that I kind of like to get into a good routine now. So if I do get the opportunity, it becomes a lot easier next year.
Mate, habits are learned. So, I mean, that's good to see that you're doing all that now and you're learning it now, because I'd imagine if I do this interview with you in 10 years, you've probably got 1,000 things you're doing that you're not doing now as well, which is probably exciting for you as well.
Yeah, it's always good for me because I'm always like to learn and stuff like that. So I don't see it as much of a hassle. It's more of a learning curve. So I'm open to try new things. If they work, I'll stick with it. If they don't, I'll just try something else.
That's good attitude to have, great attitude to have, got to say. As an old man, I wish I was more open to new things when I was younger as opposed to now. So you've played with a lot of good players in the juniors. Is there any junior that stands out that you think maybe isn't getting talked about, that you're thinking, God, he's good? I'm surprised no one seems to talk about him.
There's one been recently, Toby from Sandringham. He's kind of been a player that I've seen and watched and seen when I've been injured. He's kind of played the same role as me a little bit, and I see the ability he has, but he doesn't get talked about because of, like the high end players like Ashcroft and Sheasel on that team. So I think him going through like the Vic Country Carnival and stuff like that, watching him play, and just his athletic ability as well. He's got it all kind of covered with his skills and stuff like that. So that's someone that I haven't actually been able to play with, but I've seen his abilities. So that's one person. And then, there's people from Murray as well, like Ryan Ayres and stuff like that. Tall half-backer that people around his size don't really have skills, but his skills below his knees and above head are kind of elite for his size, and he doesn't really get talked about that much as well.
Man, that's really cool to get that insight, because obviously you've played and you've seen them as well. So from a game perspective, like Toby McMullen, he does suffer, doesn't he, from playing for Sandy? You see that a lot in the AFL draft when a superstar like Ashcroft is billed and Sheasel, the guys around them get forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard for I can guess it would be hard for him, but he's an unreal bloke and he takes it on his stride. Like, he kind of doesn't like the attention on him, so it kind of suits him a lot. Which it's good to see that he doesn't let it get to his head and stuff like that. Which is it's probably helped him with his footy as well, being kind of in the shadow a little bit between them two. But he's taken everything on his stride, which is good.
Mate, I love that. And everyone keep a lookout for them two names as well. We'll be looking for them in the draft. Now, weird question here. 5 minutes to go. It's an elimination final. You're playing. You're 2 goals down. What are we seeing from you from the stands? What are you going to be doing?
I think being proactive is probably the best thing in that scenario. I think probably move up the ground a little bit more and get involved with the midfield stuff and try to get the ball down forward as much as possible. I think everything is a green light at that stage. If there's a 45 kick inside you're taking it. If you mess it up, you're kind of screwed, but you have to take them risks at that stage. And then if there's a ability to if there's a kind of situation to impact at ground level or in the air, I'm flying for everything at that stage.
Mate, you've got a mark of the year in you, I reckon. You've got the mark of the year in you. I
was talking to one of your mates about that, actually. He said, what would you rather, mark of the year or goal of the year? And I said, I think mark of the year would be a bit more special. You get remembered for that a little bit more, I reckon.
I'm with you. I think if I was a footballer, it's the mark of the year, isn't it? It's what we all get excited about. There's nothing better than seeing someone leave the ground. It's what makes our game unique, I think, to every other sport. Now, who would you say is the biggest influence on your career? Is it a coach? Is it a family member? Who really stands out that's really pushed you to where the levels you are now?
I think my grandfather has been a real influence on me. He unfortunately passed away on my 16th birthday, but throughout that period of time when he was around, he kind of taught me some life lessons that have stuck with me to this day. And just that kind of built me into who I am today. He didn't really have to do much with my footy stuff, but kind of the mental space I'm in now is because of him, and that's helped me with my football as well.
Mate, I love that.
And probably Cam Bishop at the Bush. He's a strength and conditioning person. He's kind of, with my football as such, he's been probably the biggest influence because he's got the best out of me in the 3 years I've been there. He's always been a person I can talk to about anything and be open to. If I'm struggling with something, I can talk to him, and he's all ears and doesn't really hinder me or put me down or anything like that. So I feel like we have a good, strong bond that I can talk to him about anything.
Mate, I love that. I love that. And I was raised by my grandparents. So, I mean, to hear you say that, I totally resonate. I
Yeah.
lost my grandma when I was 16, and the man I am today is because of her, like talking about being open and sharing feelings and being courageous to be open. And I love hearing what you've said there. I think that's amazing and a great role model to young men there. Find someone to vent to and don't keep it to yourself. So, mate, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, what's the best game? If we were going to go and Google you, what would you say is a great highlight reel to watch for yourself? What game stands out for you?
Um, I think probably one of the last games I played, the Rebels game at Bendigo. I think that was probably the complete game where I went out there and I probably started pretty bad. I think I had 2 turnovers straight away, and then after that I kind of just flipped the switch and started flying at everything and got me confidence up and hit the scoreboard a fair bit and got involved up the ground a little bit more as well. And yeah, I think that's probably the complete game I played. I think that's the game I walked off saying, yeah, look, I think I'm at this level now, and I think I can do great things if I keep playing like that. So that gave me confidence going into the next weeks as well.
Mate, it's got to be said, for those watching, we've talked about you a few times on the show. Like every time you've played, you do catch the eye. So I think that's why you're rated so high in this draft, albeit because of the injuries. And you are a walking highlight reel, I've got to say. I can see you making headlines in the AFL. You're going to be a fan favourite the way you play the game.
I try my best to make something out of nothing sometimes, and if there's a chance to do something special, I'll always put my hand up to try being in that position to get the spotlight on me a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future, but I'll try my best to be a fan favourite.
Now, is there a favourite team of yours? Is there a team? I know in 7 days you're probably going to throw that team in the bin, but who is your team at the moment?
I'm a Richmond supporter at the moment, but I've kind of taken a step back a little bit and kind of watch footy a bit more openly. I watch a bit more of forward line players and stuff like that. So I watch Jamie Elliott, Isaac Heaney, and Connor Rosie, to see how they go about it. But yeah, a little man growing up, I was always a Richmond supporter, and my brother, he's an Essendon supporter. So Dreamtime was a fun time in our household. There was a few tears, but no, it's always been fun.
Been a good few years for you as well as a Richmond fan. I've got to say you've been blessed.
Yeah, it's been good to watch the success throughout the club, but yeah, no, it's been a good spectating scene for the last couple of years.
Now, is there a particular player? I know you've mentioned Jamie Elliott and Rosie and players like that. Is there a particular favourite of yours though that you look at and you think you could learn from?
I think probably them. I think Isaac Heaney is probably the one that I could probably learn the most off. I feel like he plays down forward a little bit, and then throughout his career he's moved up the ground a little bit more. And I feel like we share similar athletic traits. He's always flying at balls. He's always trying to kick goals and stuff like that. So I feel like if I sat down in a room with him, I could pick his brain a little bit and learn some things off him.
Now, going into the future, I've got a magic wand. 15 years' time, you've retired, you're a one-club player. How would you like the fan base to remember you?
I think I want to be remembered from the off-field stuff. So if that's helping out in the community or doing that sort of stuff, but on-field probably being the most consistent, determined player I possibly can. Being a bit of a showman as well. Kind of being remembered for them big marks and big goals, and being that clutch player. So if the team needs something, I can always step up and just being remembered for the on-field stuff and nothing controversial.
Mate, music to my ears. I like that. I do like that. Great answer. Now, we end with a tough question here in the football-related part. You're the list manager. Where do you think you should be picked?
It's a hard one because you got to take in the consideration of there's no first year getting played and stuff like that. So I feel like, are you meaning like in what club or what position or
what number? So,
What number?
yeah, where do you think your pick is?
Oh, you'd have to back your ability in here. So I feel like around the probably 15 to 20 mark. I feel like I'm in that sort of range there. So whatever club wants to take the punt on me, I feel like it'll be a good punt to take. So wherever I land in there, I reckon I'll be around that 15 to 20 mark.
Mate, I think you've got to back yourself. I like it when people go bold. We had a Mateus Philippou on the other day, and he was straight away pick one, and he was the first one to do it, which excited me. Most people have been conservative. We want a little bit of confidence, so I like that answer. I think you're a great investment for any football club. Great investment.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'm looking at it. It's whatever club takes me, it's them backing me in for a long career. So whatever club gets the opportunity to take that risk, I'll be over the moon with, and I'll do everything right to gain the respect and do that sort of stuff.
Mate, I love it. Now, we end with some fun questions to get to know what type of person you are. So they're nice and fun, easy questions. Did you have any posters? What posters were on your wall when you were a kid?
I didn't have really many posters. I've got this one now. It's the 2020 Premiership one from Richmond. But back at home, I've got a Fast and the Furious poster on my wall. But yeah, that's just one of the shows I like to watch and stuff like that.
Mate, I love it. I love it. It's a clean answer as well. I'm impressed. Now, what's the most bizarre food you've ever tried?
I'm actually probably people say this is pretty weird. I like to make Vegemite and cheese toasties, but also put barbecue sauce on them. So yeah, people call me a bit weird for that. Like, you usually don't really have sauce or that sort of stuff, but I like to keep my range of foods pretty straightforward, so I know what I'm eating all the time. But yeah, that's probably one of the strange ones I've done.
I've never seen anyone dip a toasty in barbecue sauce. I've got to say that is new. My kids, everything's ketchup, but I've never seen barbecue sauce. Mate, I like it. It's rare. Now, if you had a personal theme song to your life, what would it be?
Well, that's a hard question, actually. I don't know. Probably a generic answer. Probably like "We Are the Champions" or something like that. Because I always like winning and kind of doing that sort of stuff. And I feel like you can get a bit of excitement from that song, and I can bring a bit of excitement to your life as well. So I feel like it goes hand in hand a little bit.
And Queen Our Poms as well. So you've done well there. Good choice. I approve. What's the best, with Christmas coming around the corner, best Christmas present you've ever got?
The best Christmas present I've ever got. I think I'll have to take a trip down memory lane here and go. Probably when I was little, me and my brothers got Nerf guns and stuff like that, and probably stayed up till all ends of the night and just running around the house shooting each other and doing that sort of stuff. I think they're the best memories you find from Christmas when you're a bit younger, but nowadays it's probably just like the clothes and all that sort of stuff. But back in the day, probably the Nerf guns and the Lego and stuff like that.
Mate, I've got two young boys, and Nerf guns, I got them last Christmas. Biggest parental mistake ever, because that was World War III till about 3 a.m. because the big brother kept picking on the little brother. So I can relate. I used to do it to my brothers too. So no, I love that. I love that answer. Now, have you got a guilty pleasure on TV? Is there something that you watch that people might be surprised?
I don't find myself watching that much TV or TV shows and stuff like that. But one thing I've kind of done since moving here, I watch a lot of like Grand Theft Auto role plays and stuff like that. So I think a few of my mates have walked around the house once. I've fallen asleep with the GTA on the TV, and they've found that pretty weird. But that's something I like to watch on my spare time.
I've got to say, mate, I relate to you. I enjoy the Twitch feeds and stuff. I think they're fascinating when people make stuff out of a game. It's insane. Now, finally, fictional character. Who do you think you relate to the most? Could be in TV, movie, in a book. Who do you really resonate with?
I think I think back in the day, probably the wimpy kid.
Oh yeah.
I think yeah, when I was at school, I was a bit chubbier, and then I went through a stage where I got real skinny, and I was probably wasn't the most confident kid, so I was always walking around a bit timid and stuff like that. Wasn't really wanting to put myself out there, but now I'm probably like a Captain Underpants or something like that, real out there and kind of in your face a little bit, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, I've got to say, as interviews go, you have nailed the fun side of it. You have nailed the fun side by a mile. Your pick one, based on your answers.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, Brayden, on behalf of Pommy and Oz and everyone watching, we wish you all the best for the future, and we can't wait to hear your name called out in the draft. And we wish you a long, 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 prosperous career. But you're a fantastic young man. You've blown me away, mate, with your answers. Like you're one of my favourites already now.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, mate, good luck, and we can't wait to see you get on the AFL list.
Well, thank you very much. Hope your England go all the way and win the World Cup.
Cheers, mate. We appreciate it.
Cheers. Have a good one.